Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so we are on verse 39 today, and this is part of Arjun's question, which started at verse 37. He was asking Krishna Bhagwan that suppose there is a person who has a lot of faith, Shraddha, but for some reason either he is unable to control himself or he slips, or before reaching that final goal, death happens. Either way, he's not reach his goal and death takes him away. Then what happens to that person? And then he was not satisfied with what he said, because this question was really kind of bugging him. So, and I think all of us have the same question. And just now before the class started, we were talking to Shireen, and Shireen said she already knew this intuitively, that nothing goes waste. But anyway, then he gives, and verse 38, he gives an example. He's saying, just like a cloud is moving and a small piece of it gets separated from it, and that little piece, it just becomes toot ke bikhar jata hai jaise, So, aisa ho jayega means he's saying that will that person gonna disappear in the vast universe somewhere? That's the question he had. So he kind of forgot about the reincarnation theory for a while. Or some people may not be fully convinced about that theory because we don't know. It's an unknown thing. That could be another reason. So that was his question. And he's still not satisfied with this question. So he adds one more verse. So you can imagine how significant this question is, that here the 3 verses are taken. Okay. So with that, we will go to verse 39, the last part of his question. And then the next one, verse 40, Krishna Bhagavan will start answering. And he takes several, I think are almost like 4 or 5 verses to answer the question in detail. So what is he saying in 39? Here is a verse. Etan me sanshayam Krishna chetumarhasya sheshataha twadanya sanshayasya chetana upapadyate. Etat is this. Me is mine. Samshayam. Hindi mein bada na samshay, doubt. Krishna, O Krishna. Chetum means to dispel. Please dispel my doubt. Arhasi, ought to. Asheshta, completely, without any reservation, completely. Because obviously when we have a doubt, until we are intellectually convinced of something, thoda sa bhi reh jayega, again it will remain like a doubt only. So that's why I say only you can do it. Tvam, then you. Anya, another. Samshayasya, O doubt, the doubt. Of doubt. Asya, of this. Cheta, dispeller. To remove the doubt. No is not. He is verily. Upapadyate is fit. So what is he saying over here? So firstly, this question about, life after death, what happens? This question is in everybody's mind. And what he's saying is that this doubt of mine means, uska kya hoga, us person who dies, sab waste ho jayega kya? Hey Krishna, other than you, I don't think anybody can solve it. So he's telling, you are the only one. And, Shraddha bhi honi chahiye us person who's answering, So that's how he's coming from his Shraddha, he's coming from his own knowledge about Krishna Bhagwan. So because why? Because he's not talking about just his this life. He's talking about his next life also. And he's saying, like Nikhilanandji was saying, that who better could be than Krishna Bhagwan? Why? Because Krishna Bhagwan is Trikaldarshi. Remember in chapter 4, he already mentioned that, hey, we have taken the birth, you and me, many times. You don't remember your birth, I do. And I am the one who gave this knowledge to the son first and all that. So that's why he's asking him, because Krishna Bhagwan knows the past, present, and future, everything. And he's not only about the individual. Krishna Bhagwan not only knows about the individual person, but about the whole cosmos. Because as a Ishvara, he knows everything about the creation of the whole universe also. So that factor also we have to take in. And so here, Ishvara directly can tell you, and you will believe in what Ishvara is saying. And then the other thing that Nikhilanandji brought up was a very good point, that his other doubt that he had earlier, hey, my mind is chanchal, and all that, that got dispelled by Krishna Bhagwan completely. So he has already cleared his one doubt, and now he's talking about another. So because he has now faith completely that, Krishna Bhagwan talks, my doubt is going to go. So, and the other thing Nikhilanandji was talking about, that in the current world or even before, this kind of debate on this subject, life after death, always happens. And people have so many different theories, so many different views. And sometimes people can get confused, hearing from here, there, and all that. So that's why it's very important to clear this doubt. And why Arjuna is saying that another reason that why you are the only person, because just if we observe ourselves, we come in this world, we are born, we don't remember our previous lives at all. Very, very few saints and sages do, but on average we're talking about, and us we're talking about, we don't remember. So we have no clue where we came from. And then, we are still alive, we are not gone to the other world yet. But if suppose somebody even goes from the people that we know, we don't have a communication with them. We don't know, what happened to them and things like that. And so because of that, we don't know about past life, we don't know about future life, we have a confusion about it. So we don't have any direct proof to clear this doubt. So obviously the wise thing is, two things you can do. One is you can take the help of the Shastras, because that has all the answers. If you have Shraddha in the Shastras, you can learn from there. Bhagavad Gita had, chapter 2 already had it. Here it's reinforcing it again. Or you can talk to a self-realized person. So a master, self-realized, who is like, Trikaldarshi. So that's where Krishna Bhagwan comes into the picture. That, hey, he's right there and Arjun wants to clear this doubt. So it's a very good question by Arjun, and we all can get the answer. So that, and the next verse he will start answering. So this verse is simple, just, kind of telling little more forcefully about this question. That's really important to me, according to Arjuna. That's what it is. Any question on the question? Any doubt? Okay. Any comment? No? Simple.
I have a question here.
Sure.
Did Arjun really was not clear about reincarnation, or that he was clear about reincarnation but did not know what you carry with you when you're reborn?
It's one of those things that for the reason I told you, that since we don't know past life and future life, अगर 100 बार भी पढ़ो ना तो कोई कोने में एक थोड़ा सा डाउट रह जाता है. Like I remember, like, coming from India, we all have heard this. Like पिछली जिंदगी, आगे की जिंदगी, people talk about it like, they talk about sabji or something. It's so common. But one day you sit down and you ask yourself, hey, I don't know really what happens. That was a Nachiketa's question. Hey, I've heard so many different views. And those Nastic people, some of them are very intelligent also. अगर एक दो फ्रेंड्स ऐसे मिल गए ना, वो भी डाउट डाल देंगे तुम्हारे दिमाग में, बिकॉज कुछ कुछ दलीलें देकर, who knows, we don't know. And that is one point, Anilji. And secondly, Bhagavad Gita is like a complete Shastra, right? It is the total essence of all the Upanishad. And Upanishad style is clearing all the doubts. And sometimes you will see Arjun is not going to ask question, and still Krishna Bhagwan knows that kahin kone mein wo hai prashna, he will start answering. So he's covering all kinds of people. So even though, and the other thing is, no matter how many times we read the Shastras and we go deeper into it, until we get to that self-realization state, we are not there yet. That's another thing, right? So Arjun is also kind of trudging along to that path, going higher and higher. On the way, jitne bhi prashna hai, Krishna Bhagwan is answering. You may fall into that doubt category, you may not, but he is just covering all the bases. That's how we have to look at it. Any other? Okay, any volunteers to read Swamiji's commentary? Sheila ji.
Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
This doubt of mine, O Krishna, please dispel completely, because it is not possible for anyone but you to dispel this doubt. In this concluding verse of this section, Arjuna frankly asks, this doubt of mine, O Krishna, you should completely dispel. The eternal Creator, Lord Krishna, alone has a pure wisdom that can rub out this doubt and quieten the agitation caused by it in the bottom of Arjun. With this question, it becomes amply clear that this previous doubt has been totally dispelled. The earlier doubt was that the self-realization is impossible, since the mind, which is ever turbulent, can never be still. The reply of the Lord has smoothed out and this knotty kink in Arjuna's mind.
So here he is just saying that the eternal scraper, Lord Krishna, because the name Krishna has several meanings. One of them is which scrapes all your negativity from you. And in Vedanta, doubt is considered kind of a negativity, because that doubt keeps us in ignorance. And that's why there is a verse also, Shraddhavan labte jnanam. If you just stay in that doubt, अगर wise person के पास जाओ and वो answer दे रहा है, फिर भी तुमको doubt हो रहा है, फिर then you're not going to get the knowledge. So, you have to find somebody that you have the Shraddha and that person says, and it should intellectually connect to you. And if you still you can have a discussion with that person, because, with your guru, and they will try to dispel it. So basically that's what Swamiji's Gurudev is talking about, that he alone is a pure wisdom that can rub out this doubt. And Arjuna is the greatest opportunity, because, Lord himself is standing in front of him. So why not? Jo bhi doubt hai, sab abhi clear kar lo. Go ahead. Sheila ji.
Every truth seeker, if he be diligent enough, must come to discover a couple of new doubts, when previously existing doubt has been cleared. The process of slowly eliminating all these doubts is the process of vikara.
Vichar, actually it is vichar.
Vichar, sorry. Vichara. That is practiced both consciously and unconsciously during all satsangas.
Yeah, so basically he's just saying that obviously pehla wala doubt clear ho gaya, to naya doubt aa gaya, which is normal. And our whole journey is slowly eliminating all the doubts completely. And sometimes we may do it consciously, unconsciously. And you have seen that when we are in a group like this, and then you may not ask that question, somebody else asks. and then you realize, oh, this question was sitting in my mind also. Or I think in our class we have discussed it. Ki you go to some kind of a spiritual lecture and you don't even ask question, and you are hesitant, in a group to ask question. Somebody else asks that question, or for some reason the speaker automatically start talking, because there is some kind of synergy there, because the universe knows that, hey, this is your question and it'll get answered. It has happened so many times, so that's what it's talking about. Consciously or unconsciously you have the doubt, and this is a process of eliminating the doubt. That's what Krishna Bhagavan is talking about. There is one line also, right? One paragraph.
No.
You don't have it? Okay, so maybe the next one. That's fine. So this was a simple one. Yeah.
We have the other page actually.
Okay.
The glorious life of the hereafter, as shown to every evolver, is classified here under on the basis of the intensity of the mental attitude and the spiritual aptitude in each one of them.
So he's just talking about how Krishna Bhagavan is going to answer this, because each seeker has a different kind of journey. Some people might have problem A, another might have problem B, But obviously, Krishna Bhagavan, when he's going to talk about it, he's going to talk in general term, but there are still two categories and we'll see when we go into he's just talking about that, what is coming in the future. Now, in the next couple of verses, 4 or 5 verses. Any other question, doubt, or comment on this? Verse 39. Yeah, Dr. Prabhakar.
Umaji, just I was thinking that what Krishna Bhagavan said, that it is not going to be wasted. It is going to go into the next lives. It is quite assuring for many seekers, because the many seekers may not reach that stage, and he's telling us that don't get disappointed.
Absolutely.
Don't get disheartened. You continue, even if you don't reach there and you are in the beginning stage, still it is going to take you to the next life.
Absolutely.
And I think that is what I took it, and very reassuring in that context.
Absolutely. So reassuring and so beautiful that we just all feel. So even if we did some mistake and all that, we say, okay, no, never mind. Whatever good I've done, it's not going to go waste. And, when we do the next verse, you will see that how he addresses Arjuna as my son. Means itna wo reassuring, like how you will tell your own son something, with so much passion and truth, and and you will see in Swamiji's commentary that he's saying that और कोई आदमी चोर उचक्का भी होगा ना, वो अपने बेटे को कभी गलत सलाह नहीं देगा, because he has that relationship,
But the only one thing which is that while it is reassuring, we don't know whether in the next life we don't remember anything. What has happened in this life?
That's why he's reassuring us.
And then, of course, we don't even know that we have done something great in the past. But now we feel that, okay, whatever we have now, we might have done something great in the past.
Yes, we should not pat ourselves on the back, and actually it will come, I think it's chapter 16, that he talks about devilish quality and divine quality. And, like when they talk about asuric qualities, our teacher used to say, don't think that those asuras are some people over there, TV serial में दिखाते हैं ना ऐसे भयानक लोग, बोलते नहीं, वो तो asuric quality हमारे में ही है. And once in a while it comes out as anger, frustration, or, lashing out at somebody and all that. Those are the asuric thing. So we say, oh my God, I have done this. Am I doomed now? And Arjun started having the same kind of feeling, and immediately Krishna Bhagavan said, don't worry, you are born of divine qualities. Firstly, he says everybody is divine, so we have to be rest assured, right? But he's reassuring Arjun. And then Swamiji in the commentary said, the fact that you are reading a Geeta, just remember that you are born of divine quality. तो पास भी नहीं फटकोगे नहीं तो, the fact that you are interested and coming and wanting to do this, so much reassurance is there. That's why I love Bhagavad Gita, because it is so close to our heart, because it gives us so much hope. And Krishna Bhagwan, so many different promises and different, and if we have Shraddha in Krishna Bhagwan, then we have nothing to worry about, as long as we study and try and study and try, True.
Yeah.
Very good point you brought up, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other? So we can go to the next one now. Verse 40. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Parthanaivaih namutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyana krut kaschit durgatim tatha gacchati. Parth is Arjun's other name. No, not. Eva, verily. Iha, here. No, not. Amutra, in the next world. Vinasha, destruction. Tasya, of him. Vidyate, is. No, is not. He is verily. Kalyanakrut, he who does good. Kaschit, anyone. Durgatim, हिंदी में बोलते हैं दुर्गति हो गई उसकी, bad state of grief, goes to some kind of a bad end. Tat, oh my son. So tat is, when you address your son, you say tat. Gacchati, goes. He's his friend, but वो कृष्ण भगवान ही इमोशन में आ गए वो टाइम पे. तीन वर्सेस में वो प्रश्न पूछ रहा है, इसको थोड़ा शांत करने के लिए. Oh my son, because he's looking at him as a guru, and for a guru, the disciple is like a son. So very, very sweet. So what is he saying over here? So भगवान उसको बोलते हैं, hey Arjun, Parth, first thing you should remember is one who follows the path of goodness. कल्याण word use किया है, जो कल्याणकारी काम करता है, righteousness बोलो, or good actions, so many things come under that word kalyan, right? Kalyan krut. He never perishes. उसका कभी बुरा नहीं होगा, because उसमें वो है seed अच्छाई का, will sprout, So, and then kalyan ko you can also say shubh and auspicious. There are, it's a big word, kalyan. There are so many different things coming. So you can also say the one who's trying to follow the path of yoga. And we saw all the different things like karma yoga, and we saw dhyana yoga and all that, and meditation. This is the chapter on meditation, the path of meditation. Whoever is following it, so just remember, uska kabhi kuch buरा नहीं होगा. And then he says, neither in this verse over here, part of this verse, Naive na mutra, that's what, amutra. Na eva iha na amutra. Neither here in this world nor the next world. So he's talking about the future birth also. There is no destruction or loss. So what does it mean? Because this is a subtle subject, so we have to go into deeper meaning what it means. It means that person will be benefiting and evolving spiritually. So that's what we have to remember. Because spiritual evolution cannot be measured by external means. Because, somebody say, oh, agar uska itna acha ho raha hai, why is a bad thing happening in the world? Somebody may die, he might come down with some disease, whatever, God knows. Accident can happen. None of that is, you cannot say that because of that he's not progressing. So very important to know the true meaning. Because, and then, as far as saints and sages goes, Nikhilanandji said that it doesn't, when the person is evolving spiritually or not, doesn't mean you start looking at, how many disciples this person has. or how many big ashram he has or something, how many siddhis he has got. None of that is part of this, what he's trying to say, So there are no fixed signs in the world that you can find that the person is evolving or not. It's something, an internal journey. That's very important. So he even made a very important point, Nikhilanandji. We may not have thought about that. He said that even the person who is evolving may not even know he's evolving. Sometimes a doubt comes in. I say, oh my God. And I've heard people say, you know what, I used to do this so much and now I'm really gone down. But there may be a reason, why you're going down. And so what Bhagwan is trying to reassure over here is that you are progressing. So you may feel that you are going down, but actually you're going down to rise up again, he said. And then Nikhilanandji gave this beautiful example. He says, suppose if I'm take a road journey to Himalayas, say from Rishikesh, I'm going to Himalayas, okay, by car. So he's saying you will go up, 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 and you say, oh yeah, I'm progressing, I'm reaching, Badrinath or whatever, and then you will start going down. And suddenly you will come a complete valley. You say, does that mean that I've kind of fallen down? No. Why? Because there's another big mountain, I got to climb that now. So you're going down to climb up again. See, we don't think about it that way. So that's what he was talking about. So you may think like you have hit the rock bottom, but just to climb up again, because the seed is there in us, of that. So it will make us climb again. So if you equate that example to our life, some sorrow might come, some pain might come, dejection, some setback may happen to us. It happens to all of us, right? So he's saying that this is still continuing onward journey. So don't get dejected by anything. I mean, it happened to Arjun. He got totally like depressed and dejected and, crying. And we saw the chapter 1, what happened to him. And that's why it's called, Arjuna Vishad Yoga. Because uska jo Vishad had pushed him to go up, because then he got so dejected. Oh my God, please help me, Lord Krishna. Please answer my question. Why am I feeling like that? So that's what he was reminding us. I thought it was very, very helpful what he said. So, and the other thing is that, hey, when the sorrow comes, this is what Nikhilanandji said, more than happiness, sorrow is the one that you can evolve faster. Because then, जब दुखी होते हैं ना, तब हम लोग भगवान की तरफ मुड़ते हैं. Everything is going great, and all the kids are behaving very well, and all that. Then you're not going to turn towards God. जब 2-4 जूते पड़ते हैं, तभी हम लोग बोलते हैं, oh God, what is happening? Please help me. So that's what it is, So, and then another point he said that, which we don't think about, that the outside world, the conditional thing, right? Like conditional happiness or unhappiness. So agar conditional happiness, talking about the worldly happiness. So he's saying that when worldly happiness come to us, we become extrovert. I want more of this and all that, ye vacation chahiye, wo chahiye, whatever. We start going out a lot more. He's saying when conditional unhappiness comes now, you become introvert. That sorrow is more, you are becoming introvert. Asking questions. And if you have those burning questions within you already, hey, who am I? Where am I coming out? Did I come here to this world just to be unhappy and all that? If that seed is there, at that time, it's going to haunt you more. With more fervor, you're going to go forward to look for answers and all that. So he was saying that that doesn't mean that we should try to be unhappy and all. Nothing like that. But if it does come to you in your normal course of your life, don't consider it such a bad thing. This is coming from the saints and sages, Easier said than done. But at least when we contemplate upon it, maybe we won't feel that bad, So just remember that, dejection can be a help. And we have to, Arjuna's example is definitely there. So, and then the word over here is used, durgati nahi hoti. And the same bhav Krishna Bhagwan has repeated in chapter 9. And when we come to it, abhi to thoda baki hai time, but just so that, we have a good reinforcement, because the same ideas he will repeat several different times, because it's important to him. So, wahan par unhone bola hai, na me bhakta pranashyati. My devotee does not perish, ever. It's the same bhav. There he has called it devotee. Here he's answering Arjuna's question. So, now when he said do not perish, so Nikhilanandji wanted to caution against one more thing. So does not mean that person won't die. Because some people, oh my God, Bhagwan ka us pe aashirwad hai, wo bimar kyun hua, wo mar kyun gaya. No, nothing to do with that. Huh? That is a journey of our body. That has nothing to do with it. They're saying that doesn't mean that a person is not going to die. So he might die, he might suffer and undergo difficulties also, but he's spiritually evolving. That's what he's talking about. Spiritual, that is a much bigger thing. And then he said it's just like a gold. We all know कि उसका ornament कुछ अच्छा बनाने के लिए और उसको purify करने के लिए उसको heat करना पड़ता है. When the gold comes out of the ground, उसको पता नहीं क्या क्या process से जाना पड़ता है. Then you get pure gold. So same way, all the difficulties, they heat you and all. But remember, that उसकी दुर्गति नहीं होगी. And that's what we have to remember. And then last thing that Nikhilanandji brought out, the point was very good one. He's saying that if you are following the path of spirituality and all that, then you should be very, क्या बोलना चाहिए, rest assured that you will get the human birth again. Because हमारे शास्त्रों में कोई गारंटी नहीं है इसके बाद हम वापस ह्यूमन बन जाए. But the human birth is a very rare thing. That's why we don't need to waste. And he's saying that human तो एक ही है. The person, the jiva which is going to ask this question, who am I, where am I going, who is God and all that, he's saying that वो एक ही है मगर बाकी species लाखों हैं. लिस्ट बहुत लंबी है. Animals की, कीट पतंगों की, पता नहीं क्या क्या. So you don't know. I mean, they're not trying to scare you, but these are facts of life that, it's like you don't know after this life. So that's another reason that he's reassuring Arjun that, hey, you're trying and that's going to help you to continue. So that's why we can assume that, hey, next life will be human. And this is what this verse is talking about. And in next verse, he's going to talk about, the yogi who is pursuing this path, uska after death kya hota hai. He's going to go in more detail, uska kya hoga. Any question or comment? Anybody has any?
Just a comment. Just because you mentioned about the other lives. And I'm thinking, once he's on this path, he's going to be on this path. He's not going to go lower. First of all, he's assured him, that, so he cannot go unless, you're on the path that you're ignorant, completely ignorant, and you pass. There could be a chance of going lower or upward. But once you're in this path and you don't go, you haven't realized, still, because you're in this path, you're always going to go up.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that, but he was just saying, because sometimes, when we see the other negative side of it, you are reassured of this side. See what I'm saying? That's all it is. When you compare, hey, what is on the other side? That makes you go with more zeal in this. Hey, I don't want to. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's what the whole purpose is. कि भाई जो है उसमें टिके रहो. You don't need to, because like our Gurudev, he said that human life is more like, when you are climbing stairs, landing आती है ना बीच में. There are stairs there, okay, landing आई फिर वापस चढ़ो. So you are standing at the landing as a human birth. You can go up or down. Huh? So,
Yes.
So that's why it is, you just have to be cautious. Mostly you are right, because if somebody has that seed, they will go up. But, still there is no guarantee. अगर किसी ने पूरा ही अच्छे का साथ छोड़ दिया, like there are, in other commentary and all, it came that some people, oh, I believe in God, एक कोई तकलीफ आई, oh, where is God? God didn't do anything for me. I don't believe in God. 2 मिनट में बोलते हैं God को निकाल देते हैं अपनी life से. So there are people like that too. There are all kinds of.
But it was just the thought of it. If the person is pursuing that path, this is faith. I have faith, but the faith can be broken if something else happens.
Yeah.
But this is like, there's some guarantee that, there is something to it. And
Absolutely.
I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
Therefore, no matter he's gone only one step, he will still go. To me, that's how I felt when you said that. I said, if he's even on one step, he's still going to go up because he's got that in him to go up.
Yes. He's got in him to come to this stage also. So
Yes.
it will push him to go up. True.
Push it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
So
remember,
push
if temporarily some fall happens, we don't have to worry about that. Just like he said कि, अगर कोई ऊपर भी माउंटेन में चढ़ने को जाता है तो एक दो बार गिरेगा, कुछ होएगा, but if he continues, he will reach. And the good thing is that we, in our Shastras, reincarnation is so strong. So it's like, there's another reason, don't need to worry about it. That, hey, not this life, continue, yeah.
Yeah, but that is the scary part, that what if you fall back? या तो है नहीं इस जन्म में आपने क्या किया या क्या सोचा था कि हम अगले जन्म में आगे कंटिन्यू करेंगे. What if you don't remember anything next in your next life?
No, that's wrong, Meera. That's exactly what is. अभी अब आपने वर्स पूरा नहीं किया है, वो आएगा वर्स अभी नेक्स्ट कपल. उसमें वो बोलेंगे जहां तुमने खत्म किया ना, तो अगले जन्म में वहीं से पिकअप करोगे तुम. And sometimes, like, suppose if I'm just giving a rough example, so don't hold me to it. Suppose किसी की life 80 years है, or 90, चलो 100 कर दो, just to be 100 years. So suppose if you have done some sadhana and maybe for 50 years you will not connect to it, but then before dying you will connect and progress. Because what Krishna Bhagavan has said, that up to the time you die you can still get moksha. While dying also, if you remember God fully, the verse is going to come in chapter 8, that, if you remember me with the whole heart at the time of your last breath, tumko moksha mil jayega. Imagine. So we don't have to worry about it. And you see in your own observation around you among friends and family and people, acquaintances, they will tell you that experience. Oh yeah, I used to, like our teacher, in Houston used to say, she used to be a party person. One time they met with Gurudev and some huge change happened in them. Gurudev himself, Chinmayanandji, was, a journalist, and he was literally against all these sadhus. He used to say, sab dhungi hote hain. Then he goes over there and complete, and then, my God, he went to all the way to the peaks of it, of self-realization. So we don't need to worry about it. Ki, oh my God, will I remember? That's exactly the assurance he's giving him. And there are kids who are 5 years old and they can memorize so many verses of Geeta and all that because their journey began before. You have these days on internet, you have how fast. And there are some people very early age they get connected to it, and some people later. It depends on their own journey, what happened in previous lives. So we have to have that faith. Like our teacher used to say, there is no mistake in God's math. So we don't have to worry कि कोई भूल जाएगा, कुछ हो जाएगा. No way, Jose. It's not going to happen. We might forget in our, in this life because we have this weak memory because we are in the physical body and all that. But at the higher level, nothing is neither forgotten, no mistakes are done. Absolutely.
Umaji, but isn't it true what Meeraji just said? But what I had read that, even if you die, this is just like one day to the other day. You continue with the same life. You don't, it's because the Atma is going to continue. Meera won't be remembered as Meera afterwards. But your Atma and your everything else, it just continues the way you're continuing right now, at present, from yesterday to today to tomorrow. The same thing, it'll be the same thing. There's not going to be any difference. I mean, at least that's what I've read.
No, that's true. That's true. And as we go to, do other chapters and all, these things will get reinforced again and again. So don't worry about it. Yeah. I think Urmilji had a question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's very hard to, I understand that, you have to have faith. But sometimes you wonder that who is keeping track of all that, I mean, who is keeping track? I mean, who has that math?
Okay, I'll tell you something.
The other thing is that we say that tera man darpan kehlai, right? That it's you have to feel that whatever you are doing it right, okay? I mean, nobody else is keeping track. It's yourself that man is that one, right? So What do you think about that?
So I think that since we have done some other Upanishads and all that, it had explained that there is something called Jiva. Jiva is, our journey. When we say soul, there is a little confusion. At the highest level, it's Brahman, untouched, and all that. Nothing, that's like a pure. You can say God, but the better word is Brahman, truth, reality, consciousness. तो उसमें तो कुछ चेंज नहीं आता है, but we are called jivas because we are ignorant about that our nature. So then we go through this journey. So when we are going from one life to another, every action that we do in a subtle form, it is part of that jiva. It's a package. And when you're talking about, hey, how do I know that it's going to remember? When you put your money in the bank, do you trust them that they will do the right thing? Without trust, so nothing happens, right? So जब वो ये world में ऐसा वो लोग we trust our bank, we trust our other financial institutes and mortgage and all that. Hey, they are keeping track and they are not going to cheat us. ये तो हम भगवान की बात कर रहे हैं उसका कितना solid होएगा. So उतनी श्रद्धा तो हमें होनी चाहिए कि that everything is going to be accounted for, and that's why in the end when something is good or bad happening to me, it's my own doing. We cannot blame anyone because the moment you develop that shraddha, we're going to stop blaming other people. So, and that shraddha gets developed as we go forward and learning in the Shastras, it will automatically get stronger and stronger.
I'd like to add a comment here. That the bhajans which people compose are not, don't always reflect what our actual teachings are. We will find so often that the bhajan is contradicting what we are studying in the Geeta. So the writers of the bhajans they're not necessarily knowledgeable about our Sanatan Dharma. So just because the writer of that bhajan says, Tora man darpan kahlai, it doesn't necessarily mean so. Because we have a different definition of man and all that,
Yeah, good point.
Bhajans with a grain of salt.
But you know what? I think that what you could take from that man darpan kahlai, that man is something that reflects, the world outside in it. There are so many different things you can take, man darpan kahlai. And the other one, if you want to take the highest Vedanta, you can say, the consciousness get reflected in the mind. That the Vedanta says. It's we are nothing but just a reflection of that consciousness, and that happens through the mind, which is like a darpan. So you can take Vedantic things out of, the field is very vast how you want to look at this bhajan. Depend on your own evolution, how you want to look at the bhajan. There are certain bhajans we thought they were talking about, some romantic love in the world, but actually they're talking about God and bhakta, You can take some like that too, So that's up to you. Yes, Dr. Prabhakar.
Umaji, just in this verse, I want you to spend a couple of minutes on explaining because I did not understand. The last one is, "Oh my son, ever comes to grief." So what is this? What Bhagavan is saying? I understand that there is no distraction. In this world, there is no distraction for him or the next world. But what is that, "Oh my son, ever comes to grief"?
See, grief, there are, the reason over there he Durgati, उन्होंने grief बोल दिया because Durgati is actually जिसका कभी बुरा नहीं होगा, और बुरा हम लोग grief से connect करते हैं ना world में. When I'm very दुखी तो मेरा कुछ बुरा हो रहा है or something. So don't take that word very like a tight meaning of grief. All it means is उसका बुरा नहीं होगा. So that's how we have to look at it. So because यहाँ भी उसका you know a little bit of Hindi, right? Marathi is more like Hindi. Durgati is, I think, Marathi मध्ये पण आहे, right? Durgati word. So कि उसका end बुरा नहीं होगा. Gati means goal.
Okay.
End बुरा नहीं होगा. So that's how you look at it. Yeah.
So neither destruction nor anything bad.
Anything bad, neither in this world nor in the next world. Means relax.
Okay.
That's all he's saying. Yeah. Shall we read? You have like some time. Yeah. Who wants to read? Meeraji?
Yes.
You're on.
The blessed Lord said, O Parth, neither in this world nor in the next world is there destruction for him. None verily who strives to do good, O my son, ever comes to grief. In the following 5 stanzas, Bhagavan tries to explain the path of progress of a seeker whose spiritual endeavors have been either clipped by an untimely death or arrested by the intervention of some sensuous temptation. At the very opening of this section, Krishna assures, with all emphasis at his command, that neither here nor in the hereafter is there any destruction for him who performs right action.
So we went in detail about it.
This statement is not a mere emotional assurance built upon some blind faith or a godly declaration that is to be swallowed by the faithful without a wink because of its being sacred words that have come out of the lips of a prophet. The Hindus do not accept any divine prerogative, even for their gods, by which they can bypass the individual intellect and the rules of logic. Religion is a science of life, and it must completely explain the why and the wherefore of its practices.
तो स्वामी जी ने बड़े स्ट्रांगली बोला है कि बेकार में ऐसे ही किसी ने बोल दिया और भगवान को ही राइट नहीं दिया कि मतलब you have to be intellectually convinced, and that's why Arjun is asking so many questions. Okay, so धीरे धीरे faith बढ़ता है, and you know when it comes to the word Shraddha, you don't have an English translation for it because it's not really faith, because Shraddha is much deeper than faith. It's an intellectual conviction inside. जो धीरे धीरे डेवलप होता है.
True to this incomparable trait in our culture, Krishna supports his statement with the philosophical truth. Never for the doer of good, dear son, a woeful end. One who acts rightly in the present can come to no grief in the future, because the future is but a product of the present, and the good is that which yields but success and joy in the future.
So here is your answer, Dr. Prabhakar. He's saying, when we talk about grief, that you're not going to come in the grief in the future if you have done, because the law of karma. If you have done good, you're going to get good results, no matter what. Yeah.
The fear of Arjun that the unsuccessful yogi, a seeker obstructed and got held up on the path, will get lost as a red cloud here and in the hereafter, has risen from his failure to appreciate the logical continuity and the perfect sequence that is ever found in life. To consider that death is the end of an existence which started with the accident of birth is a philosophy too rudimentary to be considered complete and exhaustive. In fact, it is only with a stretch of imagination that we can consider such a theory as a philosophy.
So here is the answer to Meeraji, your question, and Urmilji, your question. That he's saying that even Arjun, for a while, he kind of forgot this continuity thing. He says, because there are those Charvakas are there, no, in India, who believe that, पैदा होने के पहले कुछ नहीं था, मरने के बाद कुछ नहीं होगा, this is the only life, womb to tomb, and nothing is there, but that's not true. You have come from somewhere and you are going somewhere, and you have to just, if you believe in that, then you're not going to worry that much, because whatever you have done, in this life, it's going to continue. So like Meenaji was saying, that if you have this seed of spirituality, it is going to continue. It's not going to just disappear like that, because it has come from before, and you have given it enough, जैसे एक माली देता है ना, उसको खाद देता है, उसको you have done all this work, so it's going to continue, it's going to flower.
Daring intellects, bravely pushing ahead in the quest to understand and comprehend the laws of life and the meaning and purpose of the universe, cannot but accept that the existence of an individual in its present embodiment is but a single pearl in the necklace of infinite beauty adorning the bosom of truth. How beautiful.
I know.
The present is the product of the past, and thought by thought, action by action, knowledge by knowledge, we are creating for ourselves in the present the blueprint of our own future. Therefore, the Hindus believe in previous lives as well as in future births for all embodied souls. This is otherwise called the theory of reincarnation. Based upon this principle, Krishna insists that no seeker is ever lost, although he may slip and fall or even end his present manifestation. Tomorrow is but today modified, but directly continued.
So it is like now he really hammered it. After that, I think we are going to say, okay, this is it. I'm not going to worry about it. Hopefully. And if we do, then we should go back and read this.
Yes.
To reassure us. Yes. Very reassuring.
Yeah. The brilliant Lord of laughter and joy, Krishna, is the fittest mouthpiece to declare the philosophy of bliss, which is Vedanta. Never can we find a more optimistic note of hope and cheer in any philosophy in the world as in the Hindu view of life. Very true. And Geeta, the Bible of the Hindus, truly portrays amidst peals of its thundering joys its celestial message of hope to mankind. In the entire length of the Geeta, nowhere else can we find such a complete assurance of hope as in the second line of this stanza. The doer of good, O my son, never comes to grief.
So a lot of people express that sentiment that after reading this we feel so good. And I think I had mentioned that one of the psychiatrists who said that the Eastern philosophy is the most psychologically satisfying. And that Priya ji that Meena knows, and she said she went for that course, and then when she came back, she said a couple of things. So we were so curious. Hey, what did you learn over there? Tell us. So I think one thing I learned, if you are born on this earth and if you miss God, you have missed everything. She said that's one thing. And secondly thing she said, when she came to Chinmaya Mission, she said that it was the greatest place for her because that's where we are told, hey, you are God. You are that Brahman, you just forgotten. So just remember, and then you say, who else will go to tell you that? Where you go to other places in the world, they always tell you, oh, you don't have this, you don't have that. Then put you down, It's like everywhere is negative. You say, wow, you're God, amazing, Just that feeling. So I think our Vedanta is so satisfying. And ऊपर से Krishna Bhagwan ने इतना बड़ी promise दे दी. If we have Shraddha in Krishna Bhagwan, we have to believe in. Yeah.
In addressing Arjun as, "Oh, my son," Krishna has here not only followed the traditional vocabulary of the Upanishads, but there is also a deeper significance. A father, however deceitful, cunning, and cruel, a brute he may be to everyone else in the world, he cannot ever come to advise a false philosophy to his own son. With a fatherly love, the man of wisdom in Krishna is assuring Arjuna that one who is striving in the direction of evolution shall never come to suffer any real fall. On the ladder of the cultural growth, each step that is placed forward is an ascent towards the absolute perfection. And then the connecting line is,
Go ahead.
what exactly would be the destiny of a man who could not complete his pilgrimage in yoga? What happens to him then? But that is the next stanza.
Yeah. So, I always say that because I deal with like the younger kids in Chinmaya Mission, 15, 16-year-old, there's a lot of psychology involved in Bhagavad Gita. The way they Krishna Bhagwan and Arjun's conversation is that, I call it the Krishna Bhagwan, the greatest of the psychiatrists, because he took this person who was totally depressed, and in 700 verses, in few hours, he made them self-realize. My God, ये नहीं कि उसका दुख दूर कर दिया, उसको ऊपर तक पहुंचा दिया उन्होंने, मतलब एकदम highest level पे पहुंचा दिया उसको. And the psychologies and how they talk to each other too. So here is this another psychologist calling him my son, like बेटा बोलते हैं ना हम लोग हिंदी में, जब हमको बहुत किसी पे प्यार आता है और सब इसे बेटा. और या आई वाज थिंकिंग ऑफ द ऑपोजिट, somebody is giving you, your friend is giving you a big advice and you say अच्छा मेरी माँ, like how we use these words, same way he's using it in a way to, hey, don't worry, you're like my son, if I'm telling you, just believe it now, with so much passion he's telling him, and telling him meaning telling all of us actually through that. So any other?
It's so beautiful. I mean, even I, before reading this verse, I was very doubtful, frankly, because the way I used to think is that in this life, so we went to school, we went to college, we worked so hard to get all our degrees and everything, and then we die and we have to start again from the beginning. We start from kindergarten. So I'm thinking, now on this path, I have started so late that there's no way I can, do anything, and then I have to start all over again next time. It was a little bit of a concern,
Mm-hmm.
But after reading this verse, at least to me, it has become, I'm very hopeful now that, chalo, jo kar sakte hain, kar lete hain, aage iske aage, phir aage chalenge.
Beautiful, perfect. That was the whole purpose. So Krishna Bhagwan ne jo verse bola tha, wo unka sarthak ho gaya, because if we are feeling like that way, that's exactly was the purpose of this. Yeah. So I'm glad that we discussed in detail about this.
I loved it. I love this.
Me too.
Yeah.
These promises, I just keep reminding myself. It gives you so much hope, especially when you feel very, very dejected. That's the time to remember these things. And then also the way Nikhilananji explained was very important. That just because you have temporary difficulty in your life don't mean that you're spiritually not evolving. And then don't equate this spiritual evolvement with the physical world out there. Because that has its own rhythm. And all that. So we should not mix those two things, because sometimes if we start mixing it, then again there will be problem, because you will start losing faith. So keep those two paths as, they are interconnected, but, still we need to remember. Okay. Anybody else has any other question or comment on this particular thing? Okay, so I'll close Bhagavad Gita here. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.